A dung beetle can pull 1,141 times its own body weight. That's like you dragging 6 full-size buses with your bare hands. Meanwhile, a lion, the so-called king of the jungle, can't even crack the top 10 strongest animals on Earth. Yeah, we've been lied to. The real titans of strength are hiding in the weirdest places. Some are smaller than your thumbnail. Others are so massive they make elephants look like pets. And the strongest bite force on the planet? It's not what you think. Let's rank every level of animal strength, from the weakest to the absolute apex, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a shrimp the same way again. Let's start at the bottom with the animals we don't even think about. Ants. Yeah, I know, predictable. But hear me out. A leafcutter ant can carry 50 times its body weight with its jaws alone. That's like you walking around with a full-grown horse, clenched between your teeth. Casual, right? But ants aren't just strong for their size. They're smart about it too. They work in synchronized armies, moving massive leaves back to their colonies like a perfectly organized demolition crew. Strength isn't always about raw power. Sometimes it's about leverage, teamwork, and knowing exactly how to use what you've got. But if we're talking pure pound-for-pound dominance, the dung beetle takes the crown. This little guy can pull over 1,100 times its own weight. Scientists tested it. They literally had to rig up tiny harnesses and weights just to see how far it could go before giving up. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The beetle kept pulling. Why? Because it's not just moving weight for fun. It's survival. Male dung beetles fight over, well, dung, and the strongest one wins the right to reproduce. Evolution doesn't mess around. You either get strong or you get left behind. Now let's scale up a bit. Enter the gorilla. This is where most people think real strength begins. And yeah, gorillas are absolute units. A silverback can lift up to 1,800 pounds. That's almost a literal ton. Their arms are 6 times stronger than a human's, and their bite force? Around 1,300 psi. That's enough to crush a bowling ball. But here's the thing, gorillas rarely use that strength. They're actually gentle giants. Most of the time, they're just chilling, eating leaves, hanging with their families. The strength is a deterrent, a warning sign that says, don't test me. And honestly, no one does. But if gorillas are the chill bodybuilders of the animal world, grizzly bears are the unhinged ones. A grizzly can flip a 700-pound dumpster like it's a frisbee. They've been recorded dragging full-grown elk carcasses uphill. Uphill. These things are built like furry bulldozers with claws, and unlike gorillas, they will absolutely use that power. Bears don't bluff. If they swipe at you, that's 200 pounds of muscle moving at 35 miles per hour. You're not walking away from that. You're not even crawling. All right, so land animals are terrifying. Got it. But what about the ocean? Because that's where things get absolutely ridiculous. Let's talk about the mantis shrimp. This thing is 4 inches long, 4 inches, and it punches with the force of a .22 caliber bullet. Its strike is so fast it creates a cavitation bubble that literally boils the water around it. The shockwave alone can kill prey even if the punch misses. This tiny marine nightmare has been known to crack aquarium glass. Not because it's trying to escape, just because it felt like it. If the mantis shrimp were the size of a human, it could theoretically throw a baseball into orbit. Evolution really looked at a shrimp and said, let's give it superpowers. But when it comes to pure bite force, nothing on Earth compares to the saltwater crocodile. This prehistoric monster has a bite force of 3,700 psi. That's strong enough to crush a bowling ball, a car hood, and probably your entire sense of safety. Crocodiles don't chew. They clamp down and death roll until whatever they're holding stops being a problem. They've been doing this for 200 million years. They outlived the dinosaurs. They're not going anywhere. And honestly, they don't need to evolve anymore. They perfected the art of being terrifying. Now let's go big. Really big. Blue whales. These things are the largest animals to ever exist. Ever. Bigger than any dinosaur. A blue whale's heart alone weighs 400 pounds and is the size of a small car. Its tongue weighs as much as an elephant, just its tongue. But here's the wild part. They're not aggressive. They don't hunt. They just swim around with their mouths open, filtering tons of krill. That's it. They're the gentle giants of the ocean, and yet they could accidentally obliterate a boat just by surfacing too fast. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just exists, quietly, effortlessly, impossibly. But if you want the most terrifying display of strength in the ocean, you need to meet the orca. Killer whales. These things hunt great white sharks, not for survival, for sport. They flip sharks upside down to paralyze them, then rip out their livers like it's a snack. They've been recorded launching seals 80 feet into the air just to stun them before eating. Orcas are the apex predators of the sea, and they know it. They hunt in packs, they strategize, they play with their food. They're not just strong, they're smart. And that combination is what makes them unstoppable. So, what did we learn? Strength isn't just about size. The dung beetle proved that. It's not just about bite force. Crocodiles have that covered, and it's definitely not about being the loudest or the scariest. Orcas are proof that strategy beats brute force every time. Strength in nature is about adaptation. It's about survival. It's about being exactly as strong as you need to be to win your battles, whatever those battles are. Whether you're an ant carrying leaves, a gorilla defending your family, or a blue whale just existing in the vastness of the ocean, strength looks different for everyone. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. We spend so much time comparing ourselves to others, wondering if we're strong enough, fast enough, good enough. But nature doesn't work that way. Every creature has its role. Every animal has evolved to be the best version of itself for the life it lives. The dung beetle doesn't care that it's not a gorilla. It's too busy being the strongest thing on the planet, pound for pound. So next time you're at the gym, struggling with that dumbbell, remember this. You're not competing with a dung beetle. You're not racing a cheetah. You're not fighting a crocodile. You're just trying to be a little stronger than you were yesterday. And honestly, that's enough. Because strength, real strength, isn't about being the biggest or the baddest. It's about showing up, doing the work, and proving to yourself that you can. That's the kind of strength that actually matters, and that's something even a mantis shrimp can't punch through.